The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
And we are now live for a very special episode of the Wicked Horror Show. Every show is special. I want to remind everybody that every show is brought to you by Deadly Grounds Coffee, and in this time more than ever, we need to support our local. Our local business people. So there's links down below or up above. I just placed a huge order myself, just got it today. And if you want the best tasting coffee ever and support a local businessman, check out Deadly Grounds Coffee, getdeadly.com. And also tonight's movie, if you're stuck in quarantine, it's available on Amazon Prime right now. Theresa and Allison. There's a link down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us as well. So after tonight's show, if you're interested in the movie, which why wouldn't you be? There's a link there. And with us, we have Kevin.
What's going on, everybody?
Tony.
What is going on, people?
Tony, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Sure. Tonight we have director, writer, actor, a little bit of everything, Chales D. Lincoln on, the writer of Theresa and Allison, the director of 21st Century Demon Hunter, which is also on Amazon Prime as well. It's like a little series. And the director, right, of Bishop's Cove.
Writer and director, yep.
All right. So would you like to tell everyone, I guess, because Theresa and Allison is now on Amazon Prime, would you like to tell everybody about that?
Yes. Well, Theresa and Allison is a vampire movie made by someone who is kind of, vampire movies became really shitty for a long time, and Theresa and Allison was kind of my reaction to that. I was having a meeting with a friend of my stepmom's, and he had suggested, well, you should write a lesbian vampire movie. And my first thought was, that's the worst fucking idea in the world. Why ever would I want to do that? And then I thought about it, and I was like, I used to really like vampire movies. Like, I loved Near Dark and The Hunger and, you know, all these really cool older films. And so my whole thought process behind it was, well, why don't I make something that I would like to see? And so I kind of went in it with this kind of 70s tone and aesthetic, even though it took place in 2015. The whole idea was to kind of make something that was a little more extreme, a little darker, you know, a little, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, character development and sex and violence and all these sort of things that, you know, instead of jump scares and stuff, which I think a lot of films kind of focus on nowadays.
A little too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely different than a lot of vampire movies I've seen. I'll be honest with you, I'm not like a huge vampire guy. I do.
Neither am I.
There's particular ones, but and I really enjoyed how different it was.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's something where, you know, you really get kind of attached to some of the characters, and you know, you get to see there's a lot of gore in it. But at the same time too, it's appropriate gore. It's not overdone to the point where it's just like, I'm just going to do this because I can. Like it's appropriate completely. How much control did you have over that aspect of it? Because I know you didn't direct this when you wrote it.
No, Jeremiah Kipp directed it. I wrote it, but I was producer, and I was there every step of pretty much every day, except for there's only one scene where I was not on set. And that was the office scene that the movie opens with. And that's just because that was the tiniest office in the world. And it was just, I felt like I was just another body that was getting in the way. So, you know, and I trusted Jeremiah that he would do a good job. So, you know,
I think he did. I mean, we had Jeremiah Kipp on a while back. You can go back to some of the old episodes, and we had him on. We met him up in Buffalo at Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival. And when he was premiering Slapface, the short Slapface, which was awesome. And so we had him come on, and yeah, the dude's super talented, and I'm psyched to see a feature from him, you know, like and looking at his IMDb, he's got a lot of stuff coming up as well. So good, you know, independent artist keeping busy, you know. So yeah, I think you'd be great with it. And so I know you had brought up that you're going to be directing in the future. Is there a reason why you didn't direct this one yourself?
Because I had no idea what I was doing. I was totally new to the industry. I had no, you know, I didn't know how to get a crew together. I didn't know how to, you know, how to do anything really. I knew how to write and I knew how to act, and that was it. And so, in fact, you know, what happened with this was basically I had produced a short film that I hate, and I think it really sucks, but Jeremiah was an extra on that. He was a corpse. He was friends with the director on it. And she was asking if any of her friends wanted to be a corpse. And he was like, I've directed a bunch of stuff where we had corpses. It can't be that hard. And so he did it. And I remember he said the two things he took away from it was that being a corpse is actually very difficult, and that I was a really deranged writer. So he kind of was like, hey, you know, if you have anything that you're working on, I would love to work with you. And so I had just written Theresa and Allison. Probably, I think I had finished it like 2 weeks before he talked to me about if I had anything.
So it's kind of like meant to be.
So it was kind of like, okay, well, there we go. And you know, we put together funding for it, and pretty much to me, I consider it like film school for me, because I spent so much time watching what he did, and I spent on the other sets I've been on, and you know, and I kind of learned what I was doing on that. What happened with me actually directing was I went to school, and I won't even mention the school because they taught me nothing and they sucked. And it made me think I could not be a director, because I was working with a bunch of people who didn't, excuse me, it wasn't the thing that they really believed. And it was something they were doing for credits, you know, for their, as an elective or whatever. You know, they were in their other classes or whatever. And so I would get very frustrated with people, because it would be people who didn't really believe in it, who were just there to fill up space. And you know, it just became really, really frustrating, and I thought I could not direct. And so what eventually happened was there was a short film that I wrote that was this little found footage thing that I'm never going to release it because I don't think it was very good. But I had brought it to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah was like, "Why don't you direct it?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't direct." And he was like, "No, go for it." And so, because he had already done Black Wake, I think it was, or Black Wave, whatever the found footage he did with Nana Guva and Eric Roberts. So he had suggested I direct it, and so I directed it, and it kind of was like a new experience for me. And I kind of learned that, hey, you know, this isn't as bad as college made it seem, and I can do this.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I've heard that before. Like, there's some people that, you know, they go and you spend all this money on schooling, and you know, but what you actually gain is the experience. You know, when you're actually on set doing it yourself.
Oh yeah.
You learn way more, because it's like, okay, it's just like music. It's like you can go by the books and be like theory perfect, but if it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound right. If you're playing something that you like,
yeah,
sounds good. That's what it is. You know, the end.
Definitely.
But you want to
I
use some of it, but not all. It doesn't have to be by the book all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, is that like I you know, now I enjoy directing a lot. I really, you know, and I go into my sets. I have a small crew. I have a really cool crew that I work with all the time. Christopher By, my DP, Adam Costandi, who has been both my sound guy and my gaffer. You know, there's a makeup person that we really like who does great, you know, done some great stuff. Shannon Ray Mulligan. Another makeup person we started working with, Leona Ross, and you know, various gaffers throughout you know, the thing. And just working with these people has been very, very rewarding, and it's been great to like write something, and when I write stuff, I know what angles I want, I know what shots I want. I go into it knowing what the edit is going to be.
Yeah, you got to.
So
yeah.
So because I don't like to do 900 takes of stuff. I don't like to just, you know, run it into the ground. That was something I learned as a musician, is that the more takes I did of something as a vocalist, the worse I became.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's like, you can do, I should have kept the first one. Yeah. Or
yeah, exactly. Like you can do, you know, like I would put all my all into like the first 3 takes, and then I remember to produce the engineer on one album was just like, well, you mispronounced a syllable there. You should do that one again. And like my first album I can't listen to, because he was trying so hard to make sure everything was pronounced right. The emotion was gone by the time I was in like the 15th take of something.
Well, the same thing with film now. I mean, a lot of it's digital. So a lot of times you can keep the other take. Like I remember like working, like recording music, and it was like reel to reel, or it was like, you know, on tape, and it's like, you got to record over it. You don't have the, you know, especially in the budget that I had, it was like nothing, you know? So, but yeah, I mean, so now maybe, you know, maybe it's a little something now where you have that option, depending on how much.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that's the thing. Like I, as I said, I go into it. I know what the edit's going to look like. I know what shots we need. You know, and sometimes shots work better than you think they're gonna, or they don't work at all. And, you know, and you use something else. But, for the most part, you know, we tend to go really quickly through stuff, you know, because I go in there, I rehearse extensively. It's very important for me to like rehearse as much as I can with the actors, and make sure that they go into it knowing what I want, and knowing, you know, so I want them to know their characters. I want them to be familiar and comfortable with the material and everything. And we did so much rehearsal for Theresa and Allison. We did a lot of rehearsal for it. We did a lot of choreography. Even like anything that was violent or sexual was choreographed beforehand.
Oh, really?
Because some of those things were very like intimate and all this stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
You got really close to the person you're next to, but
yeah. And so that's why we made sure that everything, you know, we made sure everything was something somebody was comfortable with. Everything was worked out beforehand. There were so many days where it'd be like, Ariel and Sarah in like sweatpants, and and like me just like, all right, so you get on top of her and do this, and are you comfortable with that? All right, great, then do that. And we went through so much of that. It was very, very funny how much of
Well, I mean, but it shows though. I mean, it looks, even though it's like you said, it's rehearsed. It flows correctly, and it doesn't look unnatural. The one thing too, because there's a good amount of nudity in the movie, but it's not like gratuitous. It's appropriate for the scene, just like the gore. It's appropriate for what's going on, and it's
definitely.
Like you can tell things were planned out too, because if you went too far, you may not be available on Amazon Prime. Like it's something where
exactly.
Well,
and that was the thing. Like it was sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Speaking of Amazon Prime, if you're just tuning in, we do have the link to the movie down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, and it's on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you're already paying for it, so it's right there.
Included with Prime. It's included with Prime.
Totally.
There you go.
And we do
Theresa
have
and Allison. Check it out.
we do have the trailer, and we'll play this, and we'll be right back.
Much you do not know of this world. Much you have yet to learn, yes?
Do what I tell you!
I will kill everything you ever want. To do whatever we want.
Time people are like talking to
Sounds like Leo.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the trailer for Theresa and Allison, which is available on Amazon Prime. And like I said, there's a link below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And Sergio Yo-Yo couldn't make it tonight. I think he's working, but yeah, he couldn't make it. So that's why.
Yeah, Yo-Yo got a promotion, so congratulations, Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
But with that promotion, he has very little time. So, I'm happy for him, but at the same time, I'm sad because he's not around so much anymore. But
yeah, but we're work is more important.
Yeah,
so
definitely, especially now.
Yep.
With what's going on, you need money coming in. So, well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
So you said that vampires wasn't like your forte to be, but you wrote it. So, writing the movie, did it come out the way you wanted? Like, I'm sure you had your own vision of it. And
yeah. I mean, well, that was the thing. Like we we had so many arguments about the final edit. But I think that just kind of happens, Like there was there were some scenes that Jeremiah and I were there were some scenes that Jeremiah wanted that I didn't, and then there were some scenes that I wanted that Jeremiah didn't, and we kind of reached a compromise on it. I'm very happy with the version we have. I know he would like it to be maybe 5-10 minutes shorter. I think that everything that's in it is pretty necessary, and we went through it. I mean, the original cut was definitely too long. Like the original, assembly cut was like 2 hours and 25 minutes. Something like that.
It's still 2 hours now, right? It's like,
it's an hour and 58 minutes.
But I don't. I mean, I've only watched it the one time. I mean, so there really isn't anything that I can think of that I would cut out. But maybe if I watched it again, maybe trim some scenes up, maybe. But nothing really seemed like it dragged or anything on my end.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly the thing. I think the thing that he wanted to cut the most of was any sort of references to any of my other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because it's actually in the same universe as 21st Century Demon Hunter. And there are a couple references to things that happen in the 21st Century Demon Hunter novel. And
where can people find that?
They can find this on Amazon Prime. Well, I don't know if they'll be able to find it on Amazon Prime in a couple days, but they can get it on Kindle. And it's also available at barnesandnoble.com.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from Burning Bulb Publishing, who I don't know. Once again, I'm not with how the world is. I don't know how anything can be shipped or not. But normally, you could order it directly from them too.
So you weren't kidding. You really are kind of like you get your finger in like many.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the score for Theresa and Allison with my partner Chelsea. Like, so I mean, you know, we do everything. I was acting, I was writing, I was producing, I was doing the music, and was, you know, we had a great editor named Rory Abel, but you know, me and him and Jeremiah, we all like were there pretty much watching like every single take of it and every cut, and pages and pages of extensive notes that Rory got about like what, you know, extend this, cut that, everything. And I'm very proud that Rory came up with one of the more disturbing aspects of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, there's a sound effect thing in the I don't want to spoil it, but there's one of the things in the film where I'm like, wow, that's really dark and that's really fucked up. Let's totally go for that.
Is it in the basement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, I was very disturbed.
Yes.
I had
the basement was so much fun to shoot. I love shooting the basement stuff. And what's funny is the original cut of the basement stuff was shorter. And then I remember we did like mild focus thing where we like got a bunch of horror fans and we're like, hey, watch this, you know, and you know, a bunch of NYU kids, and we ended up like me doing like second unit directing, and we went back and we shot more dungeon stuff where I was directing that stuff, and it goes pretty seamless. It was very funny how like hard we had to go to match where we shot the original thing, because the original thing does not exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Because it had been like a couple years since we shot. Yeah. So yeah, because you know that was the thing, is like we were paying for this film out of pocket. So you know, like we had a couple, maybe like $1,000 of like investors and Indiegogo and all that, but for the most part, it was completely out of pocket, like paying for this film.
Wow.
You know, and yeah, I mean, our executive producer, Liana, pretty much paid. She paid the majority of it. I paid for what I could, and my partner Chelsea paid for post-production. But it took a couple of years because we were not loaded with money,
Right.
you know, and it was a process.
Yeah. Well, now
But
it's
I'm
available, so that's
yeah,
there's a light
exactly.
in the tunnel there. And I don't know how it works with Prime. Like, I know it's tough with streaming because it's something where I think it's like, isn't it like how much they watch, or for each time someone clicks on it or something like that, you get money back?
Yeah. I mean, I know how long people are watching the movie for, and you know, our distributor person knows. He knows whether people have finished the film. He knows how many people have clicked on it. He has all these statistics whenever I need them.
Nice. It's crazy how
done really
out.
well. It's done It's done way better than I ever thought it would, and I'm really happy about that.
Nice. Now,
You
is
know,
it
like even when we won like Best Picture?
I was gonna say, is it available on physical?
We're gonna make it. Yeah, I knew that's what you're gonna ask. That's something we're trying to find us another deal for that, because our current distribution is only for Amazon, but we want to definitely be in more markets. We want to be we want physical DVD and Blu-ray and all that sort of stuff, and I figure and the cool thing about that is I figure if we ever do Blu-ray or DVD, we can put some of the stuff we cut. You know, we can put some of the deleted scene, because we put one of the deleted scenes on YouTube. But you know, like we could put some of the, you know, like I said, there's about 25 minutes of stuff that got cut out that I think would be really cool for people to see.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, yeah. I mean, you know, as I said, like I come at it from like the, you know, perspective of I love the lore and I love the characters, and I'm really excited. I've been writing a prequel script to Theresa and Allison that I just finished a couple weeks ago, and I got to send it to Sarah and to a bunch of the other characters that return, And it's that's something we're looking at. Well, I mean, I don't even know what's going on now, but we were looking at that as be like a next year thing to get that started.
Nice.
Where it's it's so much crazier than Theresa and Allison is too, which is really fun. It's the type of script that like you'll watch Theresa and Allison and be like, oh wow, that was the calm one.
Yeah.
So it's so over the top and nuts and just like a very, very crazy film. And it focuses on two of the Theresa and Allison characters and how they became vampires. So it's
nice.
Some crazy shit in there. Yeah.
So you're mentioning some of the cast that you sent out some ideas to. How did you settle on the cast that you had? Was it just auditions of these actors and actresses that you know, or how did that work?
The only one that I knew going into it was Ariel. I knew Ariel, and Ariel actually auditioned for someone else. And she didn't get that role, which was really interesting, and she ended up with the lead. But Ariel auditioned for another character, and we were auditioning we were doing callbacks to the mysterious woman character, which was played by Julia Moseni. And the person who was supposed to be in the audition, the callbacks couldn't. She like called us last minute and was like, "Oh, I can't make it." So Ariel was about to leave, and I was like, "Hey, Ariel, do you want to come in and be thrown around like in the callback?" And so she was like, "Yeah." So we did that, and I remember when we're doing it, like Jeremiah and I looking at each other and like, "Huh, you think she could maybe play Theresa?" So we ended up auditioning her for the role, and it really came down to chemistry. It came down to chemistry because her chemistry with Sarah was amazing. We had somebody else that I thought might have gotten it because when it came to individual scenes, I thought that this person nailed it. But when she was in the room with Sarah, which I don't know how anyone can not have chemistry with Sarah, because Sarah is just amazing. But this person didn't have that great chemistry with Sarah, and then Ariel, it just clicked. It was like, okay, yeah, that's our Theresa.
Nice.
But everybody else was an audition process. Yeah, everybody else we auditioned coming in. From Sarah, I will say, got her role about 5 minutes into her audition because she was just so amazing, and she just was so much better than everyone else we auditioned for it. That like, literally, the moment she left the room, I remember turning to Jeremiah and being like, "Okay, yeah, that's her. That's our Allison."
Right.
And yeah, and I mean, and like a lot of people, like Amy Jackson, who plays Sakura. When she came in, like I loved her performance so much. We changed the character based on her, from how I had originally written it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, we did probably like a week of auditions, oh my God, like the Theresa and Allison audition process was probably, I remember we just kept seeing person after person for like 8 hours or something nuts like that. And finally, we got down. And like I said, the funny part was Ariel wasn't the person. Ariel was auditioning for something else.
Well,
but yeah, so we ended up.
She was great.
Eventually, with one person that I thought would get it, but her chemistry wasn't good. We auditioned Ariel. Chemistry was great, and she did her scenes great. And so we're like, all right, well, she's Theresa. Yeah. So oh man, I should have something. My throat is very dry right now. Hopefully, no one thinks I'm like dying of coronavirus because cleared my throat.
Well,
we're all terrified. We can't get it through the internet. At least that's what I hear. So
yeah. We do have a couple other trailers.
Everyone
we can
froze.
Run. Tell you what, I'm gonna play the next trailer. We have 21st Century Demon, and here we go.
Am I frozen?
Your little old lady gonna be able to smell me on you? Good. She got a problem with it? I got a steak with her name on it.
I was born with certain abilities.
I know your inquisitive nature, and I know my disappearance will not go unquestioned by you.
Like the X-Men?
Juliet! Wake the fuck up!
What?
It's 6 p.m. in New York! Did you really think that was gonna kill me? You only see one door there, but it can go to two places. You can go back to yourself, or you can go to freedom. Don't you want to be free again? Don't you want to reclaim what is yours? Julie did this to you. She took everything away from you. Your health, your sanity, your freedom. Doesn't she deserve your pain? Doesn't she deserve your hatred? Yes, she does. Then love me. Accept my gift. You can save everyone if you can get out of here. I will enhance your power. I will give you the darkness that has been waiting for you since the moment your father woke me up. You call upon the favors of gods now. Gods who did nothing to get you out of here. You had the power.
Greetings, children of the night. You are hereby invited to attend the Dorkening Network's 8-part crossover event, Dorkvania. It all starts with the Dorkening on Sunday, March 8th, with a live show kicking off this ambitious endeavor. Then continues on March 11th when the Dorks will again be live to discuss the Castlevania Anniversary Video Game Collection. Then, on March 12th, Throwdown Thursday will be giving all the grave details about the Belmont family, along with a special guest, followed by Super Retro Throwback Reviews covering games 1 through 4 on the original Nintendo on March 15th. On March 17th, tune in to Retro Redoctopus for their episode breaking down the music of Castlevania. Then catch the Amalga Cast on March 20th to get caught up on the Netflix anime. Followed by Boobs, Blood, and Badasses covering the bloody history of the Castlevania franchise on March 22nd. Each episode will be dropping a part of a secret phrase that you must piece together in order to win some fabulous Castlevania prizes. And the series wraps up on March 25th with another live Dorkening podcast. Make sure to follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to find out how to win. We promise this event won't suck. We know what's at stake. Wait, who wrote this? I'm better with Patsy. Play! Dorkvania, this month on the Dorkening Network. If you miss it, you must be bad. Oh, come on! Greetings, children of the night. You are hereby invited to attend the Dork.
Okay, and there we are. That was a bunch of commercials. 21st Century Demon, and also season 1.5 preview.
1.5, yeah.
Also ended with our Dorkvania promo, which episode 5 just dropped. And if you're missing that, check out the Dorkening Podcast Network, their page. Also our website as well, where next Wednesday we're going to be giving away a ton of prizes.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, you have to listen to every episode, though, and get the secret phrase.
I'm not eligible.
No, you're not. I'm telling those guys that are watching.
All right.
So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, tune into every episode, all 7, and then on the 8th, we're going to be pulling 3 winners for some awesome prizes, tons of prizes, including some gift cards, some figures, some Castlevania figures, and a lot of awesome stuff.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, I was gonna ask a question while we were gone, but with all the beautiful women that are in this movie, did you write your part in there to be like in the middle of it all? Because I enjoyed your character a lot, but I'm just like, he might have wrote himself in there just to be in the middle of all these.
Honestly, I always write myself as whoever the scummiest character is in any script I write. Just because I'm really good at playing awful people. So anytime like you see something and there's like just a standard character actor asshole villain character, it's probably going to be me if I write it.
Nice.
Just because it's fun to do that. Like, and and that's the thing is like the story doesn't revolve around Tony is the thing. Tony's just kind of like the asshole ex-boyfriend who shows up and does shitty things, and I think really like there's only two people that he actually like has any sort of like, I guess, interaction like that. He doesn't really have, with Allison, it's just very snipey, very snippy. Him and and then he has Aurora, and then with him and Theresa, it's very like kind of you can tell that he's just a fucking con man trying to manipulate her, and he doesn't really react well when she doesn't fall for it really.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was you. I was like, I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a and then I was like, I put my mouse over the screen. I was like, oh my, wait a minute, it's him. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, as I said, like, because I started off as an actor who just writes stuff. I didn't really ever intend on just being a director. And I kind of just fell in love with directing as time went on. But, I originally was just writing stuff to give myself roles. It was something my dad used to advise me to do is to, write your right character for yourself in everything you do.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of just been like, well, now I focus mostly on directing, and I will show up, but it's usually a very small role these days now.
That's good though. I mean, he's still there. It's like a little hidden Easter egg. Like Stan Lee Marvel movies.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, and with 21st Century Demon Hunter, if you notice, in the season 1.5 trailer, Tony shows up. My character from Theresa and Allison. Just because Chelsea and I just wanted to. We wanted to interact, she's my partner and I've directed her the whole first season. And we had one scene together, we had two scenes together, but like, it was just so much fun working with her that we're just like, well, let's kind of expand the lore a little bit, and let's kind of have my scumbag vampire meet her, drunken debaucherous demon hunter, and see where things go from there.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about that a little bit more, like as far as like how that whole series started, and did it start with the book or did it start?
Yeah, it started with the book. And what happened was Chelsea had auditioned for something. There was a short film I was doing that was a spin-off of Theresa and Allison, actually. And there was a character in it that Chelsea auditioned for. And Jeremiah didn't really like her for the role, but I remember looking at her and I was like, huh. Like her look, she looks enough like the character of Julie, who in my novel, that maybe I should hire her to be the model for the cover. So, and that was literally all I had hired her to be originally, was just to be on the cover of the novel. And then what ended up happening was we had a meeting and she read the novel and she loved it. And she was like, have you ever thought of doing a web series about this? And I remember thinking, no, but give me a night and I'll have like 6 scripts, which I did. Like it just, as soon as she said that, like all these ideas popped into my head. And I had this whole script, this whole just series of scripts for her. One of the things I love about writing Demon Hunter is that there's just it's a deceptively complex and deep lore to it, where at first you think it's just about this like chick who likes to get high, drunk, and laid, when fighting demons and stuff. And meanwhile, there's this giant world around her that the character pays zero attention to. And it's so much fun for me to write like a character like that, who just doesn't give a shit about all the big events that I'm writing, around them. And it allows me to just create, like all these different things and all the consequences of her complete irresponsibility, and the fact that the kind of rule that Chelsea and I came up with is that Julie will always make things worse. And so, it's a comedy, but it's a super dark comedy. Like especially in the 1.5 stuff, we go to so many dark, fucked up places. Some of which I'd say are definitely even darker than the stuff we went to in Theresa and Allison. And but it's all around this like character who just doesn't apply herself and doesn't care, and that's where the comedy comes from. is the fact that there's all these really, really deep, dark, fucked up things, from people's dead mothers returning, to people getting, locked in prison, to stuff. We're going to cosmic horror with things, because I'm really, I love the whole Cthulhu mythos and all that sort of stuff. So putting all that sort of stuff in there, and then there's this character who's just kind of like, whatever, like that was one of the things I love in season 1. We built up this whole thing, and it's like, well, and you're the only one who can do this. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. And so, I love writing a character like that.
Nice. So this is all available on Prime as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's available on Prime. Season 1.5. Our plan was for it to come out on April 30th. It was 5 additional episodes. Because of everything happening, we're not sure if we're going to make that, but the first episode is pretty much done. So at the very least, we're going to release that for people.
Mm-hmm.
So at least people can see the first episode, maybe the second. It really all just depends on how much we can do in post. How much post we can do with what's going on.
But the original ones that you did, like the first one you did, those are all there too? Oh
yeah, the original 13, which were, as I said, done for YouTube with no budget, on a point and shoot with us shooting guerrilla style. They're there too.
Nice.
And then season 1.5 is us with an actual budget and a crew.
Nice. And how long on average are the episodes? Are they like short, or?
They range from like 15 minutes to 30.
Oh, okay.
So it's all different times.
Okay.
It's all not the shortest one, I think, is like 12 minutes or something like that.
Still, it's like Adult Swim, length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of it touches on so many like different aspects of horror that I love. Like there's season 1 is just like a giant like kind of love letter to so many different types of horror that I'm really, really into. Because that's what I grew up with. Those are the movies I watched. Like one of my first movie I ever saw was Alien. And then I had all these fond memories of seeing The Omen and stuff like that as a kid, and Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist, and all these, like, those are the movies of my childhood. Like when, how like people have that like nostalgia for like that, that song that makes them happy as a little kid. Like for me, that was obviously 10 from The Omen. And, like I get so happy. I get like those like, aw, when I hear that.
Oh, I did it for you. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I remember being like 6, 7 years old and being like, wow, I really wish I could be Damien.
Yeah.
And
it's funny you say that though. It's like, I'm thinking of movies like from my youth, and like the movies that I remember are the ones that, they leave an impact, and they were all ones that scared the shit out of me. Like, those are the ones I remember hiding under the seat during ET. I remember like first time I saw Poltergeist, and how I reacted to that. But it's like, I saw these other movies. I don't remember them. Yeah, but
and they stick with you your whole life, And my dad, he got me a subscription to all those old Starlog magazines when I was a little kid. So I had like, all these magazines that would tell me how they made all the special effects and stuff. And so, and they'd cover like The Thing and The Deadly Spawn and all these movies, like in the 80s and stuff. So it was really, really cool for me, like growing up like that and knowing, so much about the process of it. I kind of, discovered music, and that became my thing for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had a condition called Meniere's disease that made me go deaf in one ear. And it kind of became like, well, what else am I going to do with my life? And I used to write stories all the time just for my friends. Like I would write all these like big, deep horror novels, like that 3 people would read, because it would be like, okay, you read that. Okay, great. My audience of 3 people are happy. And, then I can throw it away. And so, as it became like, well, what am I going to do with myself if I'm not going to be a musician? It became like, well, I used to like to write, so let me get back into doing that. And, that's what I've been kind of doing. And it's really rewarding to have these ideas kind of pop into your head and then be able to just see them come to life.
Yeah.
I've been blessed with just great people that I've worked with that make my stuff, really just like I don't have complaints about it, and I'm really happy about that. Like, because trust me, the stuff that I have complaints about, you don't see. As I said, the first short I directed a short film, you will never see it because I think it's shit.
I mean, that's the thing, though, is other people may not feel that way though, but I get what you're saying. It's like from a musician standpoint as well. It's like I, my band at the time like put out an album, and I would hand it to people and be like, "You're gonna hate it," and I just hand it to them because I'm like, you won't like it. So that way, if you do like it, it's awesome, and if you don't like it, I told you so. Whatever.
Well,
so it's like
we're
I don't
certainly
know.
our worst.
I've always honestly like I know my stuff can be polarizing because I know people either love it or hate it, and I'm totally cool with that. But if I hate it, then I can't show it to people because I need to be able to be proud of it. I need to be able to be like, hey, like Theresa and Allison, I'm so proud of that movie. Like when we did New Jersey Horror Con and we won Best Feature, or when we did Reels of the Dead and we won Best Feature there, like that meant so much to me because it was something that we put heart and we put soul and we put love into that film. But if it was something that I'm like, yeah, this is shit, I guess I'll just release it, and then that won something, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with you people? Like that would be kind of
garbage. Yeah.
That would be kind of my thought is like, oh, well, I guess this award doesn't really mean much because they gave it to my bullshit. So, but so that's the thing. Like the stuff that I put out has to be stuff that I feel really strongly about, stuff that I feel real connection to, and stuff that like really means something to me. And I mean, even if I'm making a series about a demon hunter who's drunk most of the time, or if I'm doing a vampire movie with I mean the last half hour of fucking Theresa and Allison is just a giant fucking roller coaster into hell. And
it had a certain feel to me, and I'll ask you after, I guess. But the last part of Theresa and Allison reminded me of a movie, and I was just wondering, if it Society. You ever see Society?
Funny thing is, I saw Society after we had shot Theresa and Allison.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I can get that. I can get what you're saying now, thinking about it though. But because it's just this like everything that you thought was good is not, and it's just it's like you're in the roller coaster the whole rest of the movie, and it's kind of like it kind of goes up and down a little bit, and then it's just straight down, and then you realize there's no track and you're gonna die. And that's kind of that's kind of what I wanted from that. Is I wanted just chaos and darkness and unbridled nihilism in that last half hour.
Sorry, Leo.
Just to jump in here real quick. Justin Cooper in the comments says they were the films we weren't supposed to watch back then. It was taboo. I remember Creepshow 2 and Warlock. And also wanted to break in because we have about 7 minutes left, and I want to remind everybody that every single show is brought to you by Deadly Grounds Coffee. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you missed it, now more than ever, we need to support our local business people. And if you want the most amazing coffee you'll ever drink, head on over to getdeadly.com. I have the link down below or up above. Getdeadly.com. And here's I think this is going to be Father Evil. 36 seconds. We'll be right back.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds Coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
It was him totally in character when we were speaking.
Yeah.
That was Father Evil, which if you go to the local cons, you'll definitely see him. Awesome guy. Talking about Deadly Grounds Coffee. And speaking of cons, with everything going on, there's a lot of con cancellations. If you check out 3D Mucky Chris, he's having a non-con sale since he does all his business at cons. So check out 3D Mucky Chris, and I believe he has like free shipping or something like that. He's running a con special on his website.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one because we're used to going to these cons and running into these vendors or even our celebrity friends, and it's going to be tough. A lot of people are going to be out. I mean, until this is taken care of. But obviously we want everyone to be safe, and
Yeah.
we don't want to put anyone at risk in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form. So but it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful that we're not going to have these venues to go run into people that we know.
Yeah.
But
at least,
definitely. And I think that's one of the reasons why with Bishop's Cove, the film that I'm directing, why we were because we debated if we're still going to go forth with an Indiegogo or whatever, and it's just like all the actors I know and all my crew, like no one's working, no one has any work right now, no one has any income right now, and the thought that I had about it was that I would love to be able to say in 60 days, 90 days. Here you guys go, man. Here is a project. Here is work. It would mean so much, I think, to everybody if people were able to go and look forward to something, because right now we don't know when our next job is going to be, and that's something that everyone I know in film, especially in the indie world, because it's so, we're all freelancers, man, and it's hard. So I that's one of the reasons why we debated whether or not we should still go forth with it, and we decided that it'd be really good for everybody if even if we don't make what we want, if it's even just a little bit, we can get a day or two. That's still work that we're not getting now.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, and then like Leo was saying, support not only your local businesses but your local artists as well. Go check out, you may be stuck in your house for a bit, so go check out Amazon Prime and look at all the independent stuff there. And I mean, I know Amazon is not really good. They're going to be strapping down on the shipping and stuff too, so you may not have an option to buy a physical copy. Unfortunately. Yeah, it's a scary time. It's weird. But the one thing that I do kind of like is that a lot of the BS is kind of, people are stopping to talk, they're actually focused on something, each other, so it seems a little more positive in that way. But I don't know. I don't want to bring everything down. Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. Speaking,
I think the world has been bringing everything down. It's not necessarily you, Kevin.
I'll be blamed for it, though. I understand. I have a shirt that says that I'm the worst, so it's not wrong.
Well, two businesses that will definitely do well during this time is my mind is going. No. The alcohol stores.
Oh yeah,
the
liquor stores.
Yeah,
and dispensaries.
I could have sworn I read that Pennsylvania was closing theirs, which is insane. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a woman at my work. She's like, I heard that they might be closing the Packies soon, and she's like, I'm gonna go with the Dunkin' Donuts on my lunch break. Does anyone need anything? And by Dunkin' Donuts, you know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, it's St. Patrick's Day, Irish coffee. I get it. But I was listening to Kill Tony, which is a podcast that I listen to, and he was talking about going to a dispensary out in California, and he's like, the guy in front of me spent over $2,000 on edibles. He's like,
God.
If it's the end of the world, I'm gonna go out on my terms.
That's someone who won't know when the world ends.
If it's going that way, you might as well go out that way. And he's like, all right, it's terrifying,
Yeah.
But
oh man. But you know what? Like I said, though, it's one of the reasons why I really like being able to create stuff, and I like being able to because it makes me feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
If I'm at least giving people a little bit of entertainment that they can watch during this. You
got to keep yourself creative and busy.
Yeah.
So as soon as this is done, you'll get your other stuff made, and then we'll watch that too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a plan. So Leo, it's about that time.
It is. I want to remind everybody, if you are interested in checking out tonight's movie, Theresa and Allison, it is available on Amazon Prime. So if you check the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, I have a link to it right there. Just click it, and Amazon Prime is free.
And also, 21st Century Demon Hunter is on Prime.
Also on Amazon Prime Video.
Yep.
And
check it out. Yep.
The novel.
Yeah.
21st Century Demon Hunter, which you can, since Amazon will probably, I don't know if they'll be delivering it or not, but you can get it on
Kindle.
On Kindle. so
Yep.
you can watch it on that.
Well,
Read it on that.
I think that's one thing for sure that they'll be doing for, throughout this.
Well, I always made the jokes before, like, but we like physical media, and my whole thing is like, well, if there's a zombie apocalypse, all I have to do is get a generator, and I can still watch movies. So at some point, if it gets to the point where like, hey, we're gonna cut off everyone's power, it's summer, so you're fine. I need to get a generator, but my Kindle won't work. I need a physical book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm an old man, so I like physical copies. I know all you kids out there like your Kindles and your books and all that bullshit.
Your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg.
God damn it! Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I like a physical book, but I also like the Kindle, and because I want to keep the physical book in pristine condition. So I'm not even gonna open it up. I'm just gonna read it and have the book.
I have a demonstration copy, and then there's the guy.
Yeah. This is the one that you just throw in a backpack and you're
exactly. The one that I'm just like, here, this is the copy of the book.
This is what it looks like. Go buy it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Toodle. All the pages are blank. Sorry.
So Charles, we have a bunch of information down below or up above in the show notes for you. But where do you like people interacting with you most?
Well, if you really want to reach me, you can go on my Instagram, charles.d.lincoln. Or you can go to the various, for the movies, like Theresa and Allison has at Theresa and Allison, A-N-D, Allison. Just spell Theresa and Allison. And then Bishop's Cove, Bishop's _Cove, which is for the film that we're doing, whenever we can do movies again. And then 21st Century Demon Hunter is on 21st C Demon Hunter on both Instagram and I believe also on Twitter too. I don't really handle the Twitter. Chelsea does that, but I think that's the Twitter handle for that. So yeah, those are pretty much how you can do those. And you can see, as you guys have said, Theresa and Allison, 21st Century Demon Hunter, both on Amazon Prime Video. Hopefully we will be able to get physical distribution and expand to a couple more territories very soon. We'll, keep everybody updated about that. But yeah, in the meantime, you can get news and any information you want from those. And also you can also check out our YouTube channel, CL Squared Productions, where we have kind of trailers, and Chelsea and I also kind of answer a bunch of questions about our process and sometimes about us. And, we just get silly sometimes, but and we also put some behind the scenes and deleted footage and stuff like that there too.
Awesome. Tony?
You can find me at Tony Has 9 Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, pretty much show off my movies. Tony Has 9 Fingers on Twitter. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on The Dorkening every Tuesday night for Wicked Horror Show. Kevin?
You can find me A Knuckle on Twitter and Instagram every Tuesday night here. Also doing Wicked Horror reviews with the 13th Wolfman on the audio side of the show. And I'm also part of Secret Underground Hideout and Black and White Frights, which are all on the Dorkening podcast network. I don't know. I just got very fancy for one word. Leo, would you like to talk a bit about that network?
Yeah, speaking of Dorkening Podcast Network, head on over to thedorkening.com for our website, where you can find all the shows on our network, and including our Dorkvania event, which is episode 5 just dropped, but tons of episodes. You guys are pushing out way too much content. Every time I go in to update the website, there's 4 episodes I need to update.
Of what?
Well, because we have that importer for all the podcast episodes, but I need to go in and modify the image.
Who's pushing out too much stuff? Me?
Everybody. It's crazy.
Well, it's better to push out content.
No, I know. It's
just take a month off.
Yeah, totally. And then a huge backlog.
Everyone will wait.
Totally. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. For me, just Google Leo Pond. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but more importantly, check out our awesome guest here, Charles. All his information is in the show notes down below or above. And check out Theresa and Allison and 21st Century Demon Hunter. We'll catch you guys later. Oh, one last thing. Alex, speaking of indie artists, Alex is going to be joining us tomorrow on The Dorkening. So,
nice.
yeah. So we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Are we clear?